Welcome to According to Allie and my first lettering tutorial. This lesson is for beginners. It has tools and tricks for getting started on your lettering journey. I hope you like what you see. Don't forget to hit subscribe. Here are the tools I'll be using in this video. You can get any of these on Amazon or your local Michaels. Be sure to screenshot or write it down if you want to pick up some of your own. First, I have a Papermate Flair. I love this one in my planner. It's called a mono-weight pen. It's not a brush tip. It just writes one thin, even line. When you write with it, it's still really cute when you use lettering or bounce lettering. Next is a Fudenosuke by Tombow. I hope I'm saying that right. It's a great first brush pen for beginners because it's firm and can take a lot of pressure while you're learning to control the movements. The next one is the Pestle Touch Sign brush pen, and it's the same as the last one, only I got these because they had them in color. Tombow now has the Fudenosuke available in different colors. This one is a Zig Cocoiro pen. It's another brush pen that's great for beginners because it can take pressure and it's super tiny. It's the only brush pen I use in my planner. This one is a Crayola Super Tip, super cheap, super common, really fun to work with. And then you can even use a pencil while lettering. Okay, first I'll use the Papermate Flair Pen. When you do lettering, it's not like cursive. Here's how I would write in cursive. Sorry, I don't really write in cursive this way much anymore, so it was hard to remember how. But in cursive, they taught us, remember, not to lift your pen very much. In lettering, it's completely different. You can lift your pen as much as you need to. Sometimes you can lift your pen up to 3 times per letter. So don't be afraid to lift it, to look, to pay attention to where you're starting and ending. See, look at, I already lifted once and lift twice. There you go. Lettering is more about drawing the letter than actually writing. If you think about it that way, it's a little bit easier to understand. You're not writing so much as you're drawing each letter as an individual letter and touching them to each other to connect. That's just a standard like lettering writing, but you can also do bounce lettering. I know it's really popular and people like it. There's no real rule to bounce lettering. You can decide which letter is going to go above the line or below the line or on the line. Sometimes I pick only vowels will be above and I'll drop consonants down below. You can do an every other letter kind of thing, but you determine. It's just dropping the bottom of the letter down below the line every few times in the word. Okay, so here's a very good first brush pen. I love the width of it and I love that how it can take the pressure. The general rule of using a brush pen is thin upstroke, thick downstroke. So you see thin upstroke, thick downstroke. These are great practices to practice. Practices to practice. Drills to practice. So you can just repeat it over and over again to practice pressure while writing up and down. So here is the Fudenosuke with some lettering. I never actually bought a book or anything in particular while learning. I watched lots and lots and lots of videos. I followed a bunch of Instagram accounts to watch how they connected the words, where they started each word, where the next line began attached to it. And I just watched it over and over and over again. And basically knowing thin up, thick down, and you'll get the hang of it. Next is the Pestle sign pen. Again, it's very similar to the last one. I just got this one because of the colors, but now they offer Fudenosuke in color. So the last one I did a little bit of bounce, and this one I'll show more traditional, staying on the line. You could play with your style. Don't be afraid to play with your style. It's fun to figure out new ways to write different letters. And again, check out a bunch of different accounts that don't look the same. Instagram accounts, YouTube accounts, lettering tutorials. Follow a bunch of people who do not letter exactly the same way so you can get the different looks and feels and find your own style and things that might come easier to you. Okay, the next one is the Zig Cocoiro. This one's cool because it actually, you can get a refill and you can fill the black part. The pink part comes off and you can change out the black part and get refills. You can tell the tip is much, much smaller than the last one, than the Pentel. And it helps you write smaller in your planner. This is the only brush pen I use in my planner. It has a very hard tip. I've actually had a hard time. It dries out sometimes if you don't keep it upside down or flat, but it's easy to get it back with some warm water. You notice how slowly I write. A lot of letterers on Instagram especially have to speed up their videos. They won't have enough time to write the whole word in real time, so they speed them up a little bit, fast forward. Take your time, write as slowly as you need to get the pressure even to write your letters correctly. There's nobody's rushing you. All lettering and stuff is very slow. I actually find it very relaxing because I have to slow down and focus. Okay, here's the Crayola Super Tips. I don't use these very often. They're really fun to play with and I like to mix up the lettering with them, but I'm not great at writing small with them, so I don't use them in my planner. I especially use these if I'm going to be writing on paper that might be rougher than just regular paper, like craft paper or something like that, like on a birthday present. I'll use these because I don't want to damage my other pens. Today I'm just using some Happy Planner paper because this is a beginner video. I'm not using any pens that require special paper. You'll notice I'm not using those famous Tombow tip, dual tip markers. They are very difficult for beginners. These are great markers to buy that are cheap and easy to learn, and it's the same thing. You just change up the pressure to get the different widths of the line. Now you can also use pencil. This is really fun. It's more of an example to show you that you can really use anything as long as you press and then are lighter on the upstroke. You press down and light on the upstroke and you'll still get the same effect. You can even do it with a ballpoint pen if you're light enough on the upstroke. You see, you can still see it with a pencil. So yeah, in the later lessons, I'll show you nicer paper and nicer markers for more advanced or intermediate lettering. But generally with any lettering, if you're a beginner or even if you've been doing it for a while, you have to practice. I know that can be hard to hear, that you're not going to be great at it at the beginning. It's all a time investment, but it's the truth. I used to write everything lettering when I practiced. The grocery list would look fancy, notes to my kids and husband would look fancy, because every time I wrote, I was lettering. So there you go. That's my lettering, and those are my favorite tools for beginning lettering. You can play around with your style and find your groove. I really like this monoweight lettering pen. I've been using it a lot lately, and it's really fun. If you have any more questions, you can put them in the comments and I'll be happy to answer them for you. The next video will give you more information, and I hope you enjoyed watching me letter. Well, that's it. I hope you enjoyed the tutorial and learned a lot. Don't forget to practice, 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 and tune in for another lesson for intermediate tools and tricks for continuing your lettering journey. Don't forget to hit